Dear friends, I warm welcome you to this very interesting topic, which is all about demand planning. So, agenda for this topic is we will understand what is demand planning process, why it is needed, and then we will also see different complexities in the demand planning process. We'll also see what is the process of demand planning, what steps are followed in this process. Then we will see what are the benefits of demand planning to the businesses. And finally, we will talk about characteristics of demand forecast. Hello everyone. Now let's talk about the demand planning process. Now before we talk about what exactly demand planning, how it is done, so let's understand the definition of demand planning. So demand planning is the process of forecasting the demand for a product or a service so that it can be produced and delivered more efficiently and on time to the customer. The goal of demand planning process is to strike a balance between having sufficient inventory levels to meet customer needs without having surplus or excess inventory. The planning side of supply chain typically starts with this process, that means demand planning, and which involves creating a demand plan for future. Now typically demand planning and forecasting covers upcoming 12 months or even up to 18 to 24 months in future, but this forecast period or this forecast horizon can vary by nature of product and even by type of the industry. Demand planning is fairly complex process. It's a very complex in nature because of multiple influencing factors on demand planning process like seasonality of product, inventory availability, promotional activities and price changes, consumers behavior, change in technology and even competitors action in the market. Demand planning process typically involves multiple elements like first, demand planner uses past or historical sales data to create a statistical forecast. Then demand planners works with the customers, product managers to override the statistical forecast by considering their inputs if they anticipate greater or lower demand and by how much. And then demand planner finalize consensus forecast, which is also called as unconstrained consensus demand forecast, because at this level there is no constraint in the demand plan so far. Now why to do demand planning? So let's take an example. So example here is packet of bread which has lead time of 3 days, which is basically procurement of raw material, then manufacturing or making of bread, and then distribution of bread to a nearby retail stores. Now assume that you have gone to a grocery shop asking for a packet of bread, and shopkeeper said that he took your order and he asked you to collect the bread after 3 days, which is basically lead time of the bread. Now you go to another shop, another grocery shop, where you get packet of bread readily available in the shop. So here your experience with shop 2 or second shop will be much better in terms of delivery and responsiveness. And that is the key reason why demand planning is done. So in companies, typically demand planners will have to do demand planning for next 12 or even 18 or even gives the forecast inputs from their side, and that is considered for the planning purpose. The next benefit of demand planning is it proactively understands the bottlenecks in supply planning organization. So as we have simply we have seen that demand planning is done for next 12 to 18 months, and based on that number one can understand if we can have any bottlenecks in supplying that number in the future, so that we come to know in advance. That is the best benefit of demand planning. The third benefit of demand planning is the leadership is involved in key decision making. Now, once leadership is involved, leadership actually tries to align the business plan, business strategies, and all the direction with the demand plans. And leadership is also involved in approving the demand plan, so that the leadership involvement creates more effective process of demand planning. Now, the fourth benefit of demand planning is it evaluates new opportunities for changing market. Now, let's assume that a demand planner is doing demand planning and he is understanding that the demand for particular product is going down day by day. And once it is analyzed why the demand is going down day by day, then one can understand that there may be alternate product, or there may be change in customers' preference or usage pattern, and that gives an opportunity to understand why or what is changing in the market. Now, the fifth benefit of demand planning is it reduces lead time for customer and it increases responsiveness. Now, we have already seen that demand planning is done to keep certain inventory in a stock so that customer orders can be fulfilled at right time. So it simply reduces the lead time of customer and it makes customer more satisfied by increasing the responsiveness. The next benefit of demand planning is it maintains more accurate level of inventory. So as we are planning for future and we are keeping certain inventories, so it is based on some statistical numbers. It is also based on some judgment of the experts or different cross-functional team members. So it helps to keep more accurate inventory in the facility. And finally, it enhances capacity utilization of supply planning organization. So as we have already seen that we are planning or we are making forecast for next 12 to 18 months. Similarly, supply planning team is also getting ready for the future by considering the demand plan. So the supply planning team can utilize their capacity well by utilizing multiple options like increasing number of shifts, increasing or decreasing labors, increasing or decreasing machines, and other capacities required to fulfill the supply. Now, what is the role of demand planner? So we have already seen that demand planner is doing multiple activities. So let's understand in detail what demand planner usually does. So demand planner imports historical data from the ERP system. Then they create statistical forecast for the future. They also import or they also collect forecast from the customers and they collaborate with the customers. They also collaborate with internal cross-functional teams. They build consensus forecast by considering multiple inputs. Demand planners also encourage supply and demand teams collaboration. They conduct or they lead the meetings which are cross-functional meetings, and this is also called as demand planning meeting, where they involve cross-functional teams to have a consensus on demand plan. Then demand planners also follow up on certain actions which are coming out of demand planning meeting, and they push for the forecast performance so that the forecasting performance can be better in the future. Now, what are the major motto or what is the major objective of demand planner? So basically their main objective is to follow a collaborated or integrated process in a structured way so that the forecast accuracy will improve with certain actions through coordination within supply chain organization. Now, demand planners also have to stay up to date with the market knowledge by considering products, by considering competitors' actions, new trends, and new technologies. And demand planners also have to stay up to date with analytical skills and also analytical tools which are available in the market. Now let's understand what is the characteristics of forecast. So there are four major characteristics that we have captured here. The first is forecasting always has errors. So there is rare possibility that the forecasting accuracy is 100% because forecast rarely matches with actual demand or actual sales. Now there can be a question, if forecasting always has errors, then why to do forecasting? We already seen that if we have to run a business, we have to keep certain inventory, and once we keep inventory, then only customers will come, their responsiveness will be more effective, then customer satisfaction will be also much better, and based on that business will also grow. So even there are forecasting errors which has minimal impact on business, however satisfied customers, increased business has the maximum impact on the business, and that's why forecasting is important even if there are errors in the forecast. The second characteristics of forecast is time horizon for forecast determines accuracy. So usually long-term forecasts are less accurate than short-term forecast. So for an example, if I have to forecast for next 2 months, it will be more accurate. But if I have to forecast for 10 months ahead or 11 months ahead, then it will be quite difficult